I'm Cristen Rayburn. I used to be Kristen Price. It's my husband, Matthew Rayburn. Our wedding day was perfect. It really was. It was the absolute perfect day. We had it at the Torch. My dress was amazing. Everything went smoothly. It was absolutely the happiest I've ever been.
She's my helpmate, and she is supporting me constantly, even when I'm come up with some crazy idea, or even when she comes up with some wild plan that there's absolutely no way that we can make it happen, and she just looks at me and says, "This is what we're going to do," and I say, "Okay."
Oh, you mean like moving out of the country?
Yeah, and I just say, "Okay, well, we're going to make it happen." So it's really exceeded far and beyond my expectations. The idea of moving to Nicaragua was 89% my fault. A couple years ago, I started talking with her about, I really feel like God's calling me to do mission work, and she's.
He says talking to me about it, but he more or less joked about it, like, oh, when we live in another country, ha ha ha, and I always thought he was kind of kidding. He wasn't kidding.
I wasn't really kidding. I was just trying to judge how crazy it was. So we. I had planned to go on a couple short-term mission trips, and I was able to do that with the Torch. We had a medical mission trip in Haiti, and when we got back from that, I sat down with Cristen, and we basically just had a talk. We sat down together and said, so what did God tell you while you were there, and where are we going now? And as you can see, we are now sitting in Nicaragua, and that's just where God's called us and meant for us to be right now.
When he first started telling me, when I realized, okay, he wasn't kidding, he really is serious, I kept telling him, I said, well, if God's called you, then he better call me loud and clear, because right now I'm not feeling it. We were in our nice, cute little house, and we had 3 cute little dogs, and I was perfectly content where we were. And then we had a fantastic small group. It was a newlywed small group, a bunch of newlywed couples. And we were watching this video one day, and it was just about your roles in marriage, how he's supposed to be the spiritual leader and how the woman is supposed to follow him. And it was during that session, it was like God gave me a big slap to the face. I could almost audibly hear him say, no, I called him. I don't have to call you. I already called him. You need to follow him. And so ever since that day, my heart just started changing towards it. And it was really, it was a work of God. It couldn't have happened any other way, because I was able to leave behind those things that I was so content and so happy with. And just the fact that I was able to do that and that I was okay with it, it wasn't even hard for me, was really a big deal that God changed my mind that much.
Nicaragua is the poorest Spanish-speaking country in the world, and it's the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. So it's a country of great need, and the Torch has great connections here. It's a country that our church works closely with, and because of how much work they do with them, we knew that we could be an extension of that work that's already been done, and we could be able to be an extension of the relationships that have already been made in this country.
What I like most about Nicaragua is definitely the people here. They are just the sweetest, most friendly people that you will ever meet. It's just something that we don't see a lot of back in the States. I would say the absolute biggest misconception of being in the mission field is we don't live in a hut. Most people were really surprised. They thought that whenever we came here that we were going to be, dirt floor, no electricity, that we were not going to have clothes on, and all that kind of stuff. But you can live. Yes, things are different. We don't have air conditioning, so we're sweating right now. But we have basically the same things. And I think it was Mike Thomas that was telling us. He was saying, you can't suffer too much for Jesus, because if you suffer too much, then you're going to be miserable. And how can you do his work when you're miserable?
What makes us different from other people is honestly absolutely nothing. We are just like everyone. I was your all-American kid, played baseball. She was a cheerleader. There's nothing that makes us different. The only thing is we're now living in a different country, and we're just following the call of God, and that's something that everybody has their own call, and this was just ours, and we just chose to follow God's call in our life. So that's absolutely it. There's absolutely nothing that puts us different than anyone else. Today we were able to go to one of the more rural, poor areas of the country and hand some food bags out. Thanks to the love of the torch and the people there, we're able to hand some food bags out, and with that, not only hand them food, but be able to tell them about the love of Christ that goes along with that food. That this food is not from us, it's from God, and He loves you. And there were several people that were able, they did choose to give their life to Christ, which was just so awesome to be a part of. And then even beyond that were several people that you could just see their hearts, that outer shell on their hearts melt, and they could sense that the Spirit was there and just really touch those needs there. And you could see some people who those prayers that we said went straight to their hearts and answered some needs that they had. I would say to people that are supporting me right now, thank you so much. We couldn't be here without you. We could not be listening to God the same way without you. You are being a servant of Christ first, and giving out of love. And whether you know us personally or know our story personally or not, just the love and the support we've received from our church and family has been unbelievable. And we can never say thank you enough. And I know that every single person that we ever touch a need here in this country will personally shake your hand in heaven one day and say thank you for being there for me.